Job, you do it.
There we go.
It's time for the Everyman, where real man talk.
Let's go. Time to grind, get inside your mind. Yeah, we working overtime. That's the only way to climb. We gon' make it in our prime. Signing on the dotted line, cashing checks left and right. That's the way I'm living life.
Hello, good evening, and welcome to the Everyman Podcast. Now, tonight we have a very special guest. We have Sophie Craig, who is I would describe you as an online social media personality. You'll probably describe yourself as a lovely person, which we'll find all about tonight, I'm sure. Sophie, how are you doing tonight?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Yes, I'm really good, thank you. It feels like we've been speaking for a while, like pre-Christmas. I missed a message, which was really embarrassing, actually, because I went to message you being like, yeah, you said you'd come on, and then I realized I hadn't replied, and I was like, oh no,
No, don't worry.
Yeah. No, genuinely, it is lovely to have you on. We're going to talk to you tonight about a whole different host of things, from women's health, probably things like being a social media influencer, because that's something that I don't know how that sort of label feels to you, but for us, so many young people like nowadays, they want to be famous, or they want to have huge followings, and probably some of the impacts that has on your own health and your personal life, and how that impacts you. So lots of things to discuss tonight, but firstly, before we get into it, we start every podcast with sort of three questions. You either have two serious, one a little bit fun, or two fun, one a little bit serious. You can choose.
Oh, okay. Me?
Yeah. Yes, you can choose.
Oh, gosh. Should we do one of each? Is that an option?
Oh, we can do one of each if you want.
Oh, well, we could do two, whatever you want.
Okay. So firstly, we'll start off with, so you do lots of comedy sketches, right? Like, yes. That is a big part of yours. So no pressure here. Are you any good at jokes?
No.
So you don't have, so your whole thing is comedy sketches, and we don't have a joke. Okay.
No.
Dean, I feel Dean would have a joke. I'm going to put him on the pressure.
You need to stop. This is what I say, man. You need to prep on this sort of thing so I can think of things. But being put on the spot, kind of think of any like to hand, which is brilliant.
So this is a great reason why I've teed this up. So on purpose, genuinely. So Christian, the whole point is for you now to show our listeners who Sophie is. So could you show a little bit of a clip of some of Sophie's content, because it is really funny. She's great at bringing really difficult situations in everyday life with a little bit of humor. And I'm saying that, hoping Job just goes now.
That is my bed frame up on Facebook Marketplace. Knock, knock. Hi. Is this still available? Yes, it is.
Great. What are the measurements?
Oh, I wrote it in the description. Everything's in there. All the details are in there. The measurements. Everything.
Will it fit in my bedroom?
I don't know. What size is your bedroom? I mean, yeah, I guess so.
Great.
It's a bed. So, okay.
Oh, hello there. I can collect this in an hour.
I'm actually not in an hour. I'm heading out, but I am around this evening. If you don't collect it this evening.
Sorry, hun. I can only do it in an hour. Not really. Not now. Sorry, hun.
Oh well, are you still interested?
Oh. Hi. Is this still available?
Yes, it is still available.
Yeah. See, my son can actually come and collect it.
Oh, great.
In fact,
What time?
I'm actually deathly ill.
I should sorry to hear that.
In fact, I am in hospital. But I wanted to buy this bed for my mother, my dying mother, actually. But my son can come and collect it. The thing is, I actually don't have a bank account. So do you have to?
Yeah, I'll just put my email down there for you. Just fire it over that way.
This is awkward. I'm afraid I can't make the payment. I just tried to. If you check your email, actually, it will tell you that you need a business account. What needs to happen is I'm actually required to send you $150 in order to expand your account to like a business account. And then, if I could have your word and just trust that you will send that back to me.
It sounds like a scam to me.
No, no, it's not a scam. It's not a scam. My brother will come and collect it in his van because he is local, and I am
Your brother
deathly ill,
or your son?
and my mother is dying. But actually, I have proof of the receipt here. I think you'll find of the 150 that I have sent you.
Yeah.
Proof.
Great spelling.
No, scamming. Hell, this is ridiculous.
Hi, hon, is this available?
For God's sake, yes, it's still available.
Great, I'll give you £3.
£3. Are you serious? It's up for 300.
Oh, okay. I'll give you 10.
No, thank you. I'm not going to accept any lower than 250.
25. Final offer.
Oh my God! Everybody wants something for nothing on this bloody place.
You selling a blanket?
Sorry, no.
Your telly, I'll take your telly, please.
What? No, the TV is not for sale. You can't just wander into somebody's house and be like, "I'll buy that."
Oh, that's a shame. What about your underwear? Any used underwear?
What the?
What kind of sick?
Sleep clothes. I'll give you £40.
Honest to God, what the hell? You bloody take a kidney if you could.
Can I?
No.
Hello.
Oh, great. You're back.
Just let me know what the measurements for this are, please. Will this fit in my bed?
God.
Hi, dearest. Is this still available? If so, you're able to send the money via wire transfer.
Nope. Get out. Leave.
Hi, is this still available?
Yes, it is.
I think that's it.
Hi,
Or is this just?
if anybody
I don't know.
I don't know.
Going on forever.
Yeah, Job, I'm going to remove this one.
Quality though, isn't it?
Oh, wrong, Sophie. That one.
Let me put it back.
Oh God, have we added Job back in? Job's out. Okay, so I think this has been a very, very awkward start. I have to be honest. We have not been on the flow that we usually are. Job was supposed to find like a 60-second clip. I felt like we just watched a movie.
I was enjoying that though.
I was like, this is going on for a very long time.
I've messaged Job about 5 times, being like, "Yeah, Job, that was good. We can move on now."
All good.
Yeah, thanks, mate. Appreciate that. So, yeah, I suppose the question would be, how did you get into that? How did you start doing sort of Facebook content? I know you can tell your story, but you're an actress, you're a performer, and I presume that's a way of showcasing your brand and who you are, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So I have been an actor for a very long time. A lot of people don't necessarily know that about me online because I think obviously a lot of people think what I'm putting out online is real. I did a sketch before with a conversation with me, and then I was playing the other part, and they were like, "Get a life! Who are you talking to like that?" I'm like, "It's me talking to me." So I just don't. But yeah, that's the internet. It's interesting. So yeah, I started acting years ago, and then put up a sketch with a friend of mine who was doing some like things online, and I jumped in one of her sketches, and she was like, "Oh, she was like, you're really funny. We should do some stuff." So I was like, "Yeah, great." So we did one. It did really well, and then I was like, "Oh, okay. Well, I'll carry on. Like, it might be like it's like a good way to sort of showcase what I can do." And I don't really know, like, just as like I used it to kick doors down, if you will, as a step up. And then BBC 3 reached out for a series they were doing called Quickies. So I went in and met them, and they were like, "We like your stuff. Can you write and do some sketches for us?" So I ended up doing 8 sketches for them called Quickies, and it did really well. I got my friend involved in that as well, and then my friend Johanna, and then it did really, really, really well. It got like 50 million views. It was like if women act like men, we were doing white van men drive, like and pretending we were white van men. And
I seen one of them today. Actually, it's really good.
Yeah. So that was the first one that we did. It gets recycled every now and then, and it did really well. So we did 8 sketches off the back of that, and then from that I started getting a bit of a following, and I was just like, "Oh God, okay, fine." Carried on for a little bit, and then I kind of stopped doing it, and then the pandemic came along, and I'd been writing and acting and everything, and obviously it all went really quiet, and I was just like, okay. So I jumped back on it and was like, just love making people laugh. It just, I've always been a bit of a class clown. So jumped back on it in the pandemic, and then it really took off again. And I'm still here doing it, like alongside my writing and acting, and yeah, I love it. I really enjoy it. And hopefully other people like it. So yeah,
it's brilliant. Yeah, no, it's brilliant. I constantly find myself down a sort of a short hole of your content. Actually, it's really good.
Sorry about that.
Yeah, I lose so much time, but James, I think you had a question.
Yeah, I'll go for the serious question. I just like to apologise first because I'm having a bit of a coughing fit behind here, so I'm having to mute it. So either if I'm coughing down the mic, tell me to mute me thing, or if I'm silent, tell me to unmute it. Yeah, my serious question now, with having like a big following on social media comes a lot of hate. Just horrible people around on social media in general. How do you find yourself dealing with that? Do you thrive off it, or do you just ignore it? Do you have a laugh at it?
Do you know what? I try to ignore it now. I'll go on my Facebook page, which is like the biggest platform. And that tends to be where there is mostly angry people and I don't know, people that just maybe need a hug. It put me off going on and talking with people. The majority of people are really, really lovely, and I do try and chat to people where I can. And but yeah, there is the odd bit of hate, and every now and then, if I'm feeling a bit sassy, I'll reply. 9 times out of 10, it's just hilarious because it's like you are so wrong about like literally the other one before. It was like if you bumped into your old school bully, right? And it was me talking to me as the bully, and it was like someone wrote like, "Grow up, get a grip, people change, like piss off," or whatever. Sorry, can I swear?
Yeah, of course,
crack on.
And I was like, I just replied with a laughing face, like, "Mate, you think this is real?" Also, I wonder if you were the bully at school. Like, yeah, it's a bit triggering there, isn't it? Or I did one of living with a man. That gets so.
I love that one. It's so true.
What people don't realize is I did 2 with living with a woman, 2 with living with a child, and I've done 1 on living with a man. And the anger that gets is crazy. But I mean, you see it all over the place. I've seen it for years, like Mrs. Doubtfire, white chicks, like every stand-up comedian, like talking about stereotypes about their wives and their other halves and their partners. Like the last century has been, a lot of comedy has been built around like, the woman, doing this, that, and the other. And it's like, you got people, you go on TikTok, there's people wearing tights on their head, pretending to be women everywhere. It's bloody hilarious. But when I'm like, protein shake, do the doggy, or like, I'm not going to do the cycling. Like, it's like, you hate men. It's like, no, I don't. Brilliant. Absolutely bloody brilliant. But go and watch the 2 I did on women, and I rip into us a lot more. So, yeah. So
I think you find a lot of people online who'll just get mad at anything. Like you could put the nicest thing out there, and someone will be angry about it. Do you ever see that Ricky Gervais thing where he was like, he put a post on like a link for a charity for saving animals, and then someone had commented and be like, "What about the kids in Africa?" He's like, "Well, I'm not saying." How can you be angry at it?
I know, you can't do right for doing wrong. I think somebody put up a post earlier, I think a celebrity, I can't think who it was, but it was something about they'd lost somebody and they were grieving. And the comments were like, "What about this?" And it's just like, they're grieving. Oh my God. Let them, there's more important things in the world. And it's like, not to them right now. Like it's, So to go back to your question, I ignore it. I laugh it off. If I do see it, sometimes I'll reply, like, sometimes I'll be like, "Do you need a hug?" Or like, "I'm really sorry, sending you loads of love. I hope your day gets better." Or like, and genuinely, I mean it. Or if I'm feeling a bit sassy and I've had a bit of a crap day, and I'm like, the last thing I need to say was someone calling me an ugly like cow, and I'm like, "Oh, thank you." Do you know what I mean? Like, I get a bit sassy back sometimes, especially if they're insulting someone else. So, 9 times out of 10, I ignore, because ignorance is bliss in that instance. And the majority of people are really, really lovely. I have to say, So I'm lucky in that sense, because I know I know it can be a lot worse, but I've had horrible things. Really, I won't get into it, but yeah, just
I can imagine.
Yeah, especially when my dad died, it was awful. So yeah, it's
I'm sorry to hear that.
Oh, but I don't know. I mean, I was going to say it's part of it. It shouldn't be. It's not.
No, it shouldn't be at all.
Understand why it is. Yeah.
We had someone who's a little bit of a smaller content creator than you on a few weeks ago, and she was talking about so she does like miming of famous scenes and stuff. She's honestly brilliant.
Yeah.
And she was talking about some of the comments that she gets and how it affects her sometimes, and because she reads all of the comments. Do you tend to read the comments, or do you try to? I posted this content, and that's almost done. I'm happy to walk away from it now.
I think where I've done it for quite a while now, I've learned to kind of like separate it, if you will. Like, it is so easy to go on there and there could be 10 really positive comments and one really horrible one. And I'm sure you've had someone say this to you before. You just focus on that nasty one. I had one the other day, and it was a woman, and it really annoys me. Like, I'm all about building everybody up, but it really annoys me when a woman comments on another woman's appearance. And it was just a lot of throwing up faces she sent. I can't remember what she said. She was like, I can't remember, like, you're disgusting or something like that, or your face is gross. I can't remember. And that, because I'd had a bit of a crap day, that upset me.
Yeah.
So and it reminded me of like, oh, okay, that's why I don't sit and read all the comments anymore, right? Because you know, I feel like, oh, sugar, maybe I should be, because so many people take the time to write really lovely things, and then every now and then though you see the one horrible thing and you're like, oh gosh, no, there has to be some sort of protection there for my mental health, for me, for my personal feelings. So it depends what platform it's on. If it's Instagram and it's like not super, like it's not gone really like viral, I'll try and read every comment and try and reply to everybody. The same with if they message me, but I don't open my messages on Facebook at all anymore. That is too much. It is too much on there. But I'll try and read the comments. I'll sit and make a bit of time for it, but not religiously, because sometimes I just need to protect my own like thing. Yeah.
Luke gone.
I feel like Lewis is frozen.
He's just still.
Hello. Job's just asked us to mention everyone who's sending the love in for you in the comments, which we do appreciate. I think we've had quite a lot of interaction already in the first 20 minutes. I don't think I've
really
seen.
Nice.
While I've been on, I haven't seen this much interaction in the full episode. Never mind the first 20 minutes. So I really appreciate all the comments coming in. I'm sure Sophie's loving it as well.
There was so much chaos in that first 20 minutes. Sorry, everyone.
It's one of them things though with online, isn't it? Like, everyone just loves to hate people, loves to find a reason to hate, and especially when they're unhappy in sort of their lives, they get a little bit of a kick out of kicking someone else, don't they, you know?
Yeah, I think that's what it is. I mean, you know, you don't know, like, just the same as like they don't know who I am behind these sketches, that whether they think they're real or not, or whether they think that's a representation of my mind, which 9 times out of 10 it isn't. I don't know what's gone in their lives for them to be behaving that way. You know what I mean? Like, why have they felt the need to come out of their way to write something so negative on somebody they've never met's page? And like, if you don't like something, you just scroll past, don't you? Like, I mean, I would. I mean, but someone must be feeling a certain way for them to write that. Do you know what I mean? Like, probably just a hug. And they'd hate. I mean, like, the worst person in the world to give them a hug would be me if they were writing horrible things. Like, hi! They'd be like, piss off.
Just kill them with kindness, yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, I don't know. I don't know what.
I feel like a lot of the trolls that you see online, you know, the accounts that are dedicated to just abusing other people. I'm sure they don't even believe half the things that they're saying. I think they just say to get interaction
to get a wind up.
Yeah. And just to wind people up, because some of the comments you see are just ridiculous. How can you be offended by half the things? Like, as you say, just scroll past it. It's not hard.
Yeah. Or, you know, if it's not your cup of tea, that's absolutely fine. You don't need to tell someone that you hate them and they're an ugly cow. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, crack on. Just go on with your day. Yeah. Go, you know. If you wouldn't say it to somebody in the street, why are you doing it online? It just baffles
But
me.
then who would? Like, you just would never walk up to someone in the street and go, by the way, I don't know who you are. You look like you're having fun doing what you're doing, but I think you're an ugly cow. Like,
Yeah.
oh, okay, thank you.
Just
Not
like,
really sure what to say to that.
just,
Cool.
I
have a great
hate
rest of
you. It's like, okay, thank you.
Bloody hell, Sophie, I felt that then. Bloody
On
hell.
with your day. Yeah, I don't know. I hope it changes, but I think the best thing you can just learn to do, I think, is just not like find a way. You don't have to sit and read all the comments, because if you do, sometimes it can really hurt you. And I think there is a sense of entitlement. Like if people think, oh well, they're online, or they're an actor, or they're a comedian, or they're a TikTok person. It made me sound really old, TikTok person.
Yeah, that's literally how we sound when we say it as well. Don't worry.
I think people feel like they have a sense of entitlement to be able to say, well, it's like you're putting your stuff online, so I'm allowed to have an opinion. It's like, well, yes, of course you're allowed to have an opinion, but you don't need to be. Everyone's allowed an opinion, but I'm not going to go into like Marks and Spencer's and be like, I hate your coffee. Like it's so odd. It's so.
I really
odd.
want to see you do a sketch of that, though. To be fair, just for that moment where everyone goes,
coffee. By the way, I don't know where that came from, but for example, do you know what I mean?
If people were as mean in real life as they are online, just a good little sketch for you there.
Yeah, I did one a little while ago on that, I think. Maybe I should do a new one.
That Dean watches.
I've watched a fair few today when I was at work. So like,
busy day.
Busy day.
So a question on the back of that. You were touching on about how you have to avoid them for your own mental health. Generally, how do you look after your mental health? Like, what do you do? We all have things, and I'm going to talk to let you think about this because I know it's quite an awkward question. Like, I exercise. I sometimes read. I get out. I spend time with Dean, which always makes me feel great about myself. No bite there. So yeah, I generally do like the normal things. You know what it's like if you go out. You were saying earlier that you don't really drink too much, but if I go out and drink too much or I eat too much shitty food, I feel like crap. So it's just doing the healthy things to make me feel better.
Yeah. I love working out. So I try and get up and I go to the gym. I like weightlifting, you know. I try and eat really healthily. I've had quite bad anxiety my whole life. In my 20s, in my early 20s, it was like crippling. And certainly actually even in my mid 20s, like awful, horrific. And I react very physically to anxiety. Like my body knows I'm anxious before I do. Does that make sense? So like I get crippling stomach pain, headaches, like I cracked my teeth grinding them, like very fidgety. But I was recently, about 18 months ago, diagnosed with ADHD, and that made so much more sense to me. And I've been misdiagnosed with general anxiety disorder my whole life. I had an eating disorder in my teens, but even ADHD links right the way back to that as well. And like I have really bad self-esteem issues. And once I'd managed it to a certain extent, obviously, but once I knew how my brain worked, my little light's gone off. Once I knew how my brain worked, being able to have the tools to go, right, well, if I have a high protein meal in the morning, that's going to help my ADHD. And if I go to the gym in the morning, that's going to set me up and release the endorphins, because ADHD is a dopamine deficiency. It's not necessarily, and it's very different for women than what it is for men. Like I will, internalize a lot of my hyperactivity, or I will, catastrophize a lot of things. I get quite bad rejection sensitivity, but knowing how to handle it. When I thought I was having a panic attack or overwhelming, or feeling really anxious, and these panic attacks can last for like a short amount of time, or I'll have an anxiety attack that can last for weeks. But when I learned that it's not necessarily anxiety, it's overwhelm and burnout, because I cannot stop. I get this crippling sense of guilt if I even put the telly on. When I learned what that was and what the triggers were, they've definitely lessened, and being able to sort of like manage that more has really helped. So for me, it was getting a diagnosis, going to the gym, eating healthily, and starting to say like no to things. Stop, like not people pleasing as much, because I was a massive people pleaser, and I've held myself back because of it, definitely. So yeah, those are the things for me.
Wow. So I suppose that's quite a revelation. So me and Dean are going through that process of understanding if we have ADHD.
Yeah.
So I can definitely recognize some of the things that you said there. And it's more the fact that my brain just doesn't switch off.
No.
Like I go to bed and I like hyperthink.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you ever get it, sometimes you go into bed and my brain will like literally keep me up for 2 or 3 hours thinking about stuff that is the most useless things in the world, but it just goes down like rabbit holes of like, oh my God, I then become obsessed with a thought and I have to just almost like think it out. I don't think social media helps with that for me. So I deleted Instagram because I ended up just finding myself like just scrolling.
Yeah.
And since doing the podcast, I've had to come back on some forms of social media. Otherwise, we're doing a podcast in a room when no one knows what it is. So yeah, it's one of those where we had to like. I felt like I've had to get back on social media, but I've been very concerned around how my brain, like reels, shorts, it's just a trigger constantly because it's that dopamine hit of like, oh, I want the next bit, I want the next bit constantly. So has that ever been an issue for you?
I guess to a certain extent. So what, like, I'm not, this sounds so ironic and I don't want it to sound like ungrateful. I am not the biggest fan of social media. Like when I say it happened by accident, it happened by accident. I jumped in somebody's sketch and then I got to do the BBC Three stuff and was like, great, well, this is what I want to do. I'm an actor, I'm a writer. And then I've continued to do it because, I was working 4 part-time jobs at the time. I was being a princess. I was like at weekend, like, the princess parties. That was me.
I thought you just meant as your personality there. I was like,
you sound like my wife. Yeah, she's a princess full time as well.
I was doing princess parties. I was waitressing. I was doing bar work. I was doing shift work. Like, so, and then social media, what it's allowed me to do is it has certainly opened some doors, maybe closed some, but equally it's allowed me to be able to step back from those jobs, and that's been able to become my income, and I'm really, really, really grateful for it. But I would love to be able to set it up as a platform for other women, other really funny women eventually, and for them it to be a platform to put them on, because like I've shifted my page over on Instagram to She's Not Funny, and the Earl of my Facebook is She's Not Funny, and I want to set up comedy nights and be able to utilize that way and create more of an IP as opposed to me just being on it, because I really want to focus on my writing and my acting. That's my first love, and social media is just something that's come along with it. So I'm not a massive fan of social media, so I never really dived into it. And also I read that if it's one of the first things you do in the morning, especially if you have an ADHD brain, you're getting that dopamine fix first thing in the morning from that. So you're going to go back to it all day. And also it's procrastination, right? I often get stuck in it when I'm procrastinating, when there's something else I need to be doing. I'll doom scroll. I call it doom scrolling. And then and then I'm like, oh my God, I'm procrastinating. So I've set limits on all my social media for 15 minutes a day for social media. And then if on each platform, so maybe it's like 35 minutes in total. And if I go over that, then I'm aware of it. I might go over it, but I'm aware that I've gone over it. Right. So, little things like that have helped me.
That's very impressive. That's a really impressive way of doing it. Just almost holding yourself accountable to that sort of standard.
I try.
We're not perfect.
I definitely doom scroll till 2 a.m. on TikTok sometimes. But I mean, we all do it, but I'm aware of it. So yeah.
Sometimes I'm scrolling and then it's 2 hours later before I even realize. Never mind 35 minutes. So 15 minutes. Oh, I've done it again.
I know. It's bad, especially when you've got something to do. Like, and all it is to send an email, but you're like, oh no, I can't do that. I can't do that. Sorry, my doorbell's just gone. Bear with me.
That's okay. That's
all right.
absolutely fine.
Go away.
James is going next. But it's really interesting, genuinely, about the whole ADHD. We can't just stop a podcast, by the way, guys. We have to keep talking.
What do you think happens when you disappear? We'll just go silent. We'll just sit there for like 10 minutes waiting for something to happen.
I know.
Because you didn't send the questions again, so I was like...
It does feel like a struggle, though, doesn't it, Dean? You were like, oh, shit, we just rely on Lewis.
We all just went silent for like 30 seconds, and then we were like, yeah, we think Lewis is gone again. And then luckily James saved the day.
Oh gosh, sorry. It was my neighbour. She keeps trying to ring me, and then she was just at the door. Then I was like, sorry. I was like,
was it a parcel?
I don't know. She's she was like, give me a call in a bit. I was like, okay. I hope she's okay. But
yeah, I was just gonna take it back to the anxiety part, if you don't mind. So, a lot of people who are suffering with anxiety, like they probably couldn't think of anything worse than to put themselves out onto social media for everyone to see. They just want to kind of keep it to themselves, or be an actress, anything really in the public eye. But they might obviously have a passion for it. So, like, if you got any sort of advice you would give to get through that, because I guess posting the first video is probably the hardest part.
Yeah.
But once you, how did you get over that originally?
A good kick up the bum from a friend. Definitely, because she was like jumping I was driving her van. I had a job as a production assistant, and she was the talent for a Doritos commercial, and I was driving the van. I was the van driver for all the cast and crew. So
was it a white van?
It was a big white van. Yeah, that was where the
were you actually a white van man in real life?
It was a posh white van. Like it had nice tables in it. Yeah, so
okay.
Classic. So I was I wolf whistled like with my fingers, do you know what I mean? And like had a long sleeve high vis on. Yeah, she was like, you need to jump in a sketch. And seeing her do it was like, okay, and doing it and just taking that plunge. But I'd held myself back for so many years doing it anyway. But I think for me, because I've always wanted to act, for me, when don't get me wrong, before I get on stage, I'm like OCD. I'm like, I've got a little ritual that I do. I'm dead like nervous. I feel sick. I'm like, I'm going to throw up. I have to have some ready salted crisps to stop me feeling nauseous. But then the minute I get on stage, I'm not me. And I love that. And that is, I guess, a protection thing. I don't know what it is. Being able to express myself in that way, although it's not myself. I don't know. I've always been better at that. But it's like ripping a plaster off. It's like you've got to do it. You can't hold yourself back. I've held myself back so many times, or people pleased and at the expense of me so many times. Like, and yeah, I mean, even I did a film. I did a film a couple of years ago, and I had a really bad period of anxiety. I think it had only been like a year after my dad had passed away. And it was the first time back on set after like the pandemic. And I was so unwell, like I couldn't sleep. And when like I said, it gets really physical when I get anxiety, and it lasts for quite a long time. So I was shaking for like days, like of feeling really unwell, wasn't sleeping. Like there was an amazing AD on it, and he ran and got me like some CBD oil, stuff to help me sleep, and that really helped. But I was embarrassed, and then the first time I went up to him and I said, I'm not well, I'm really struggling, and he was like, oh my god, what? And the minute I told him, because I'm always like, no, I'm happy, I'm fine, and put on a big front and everything, I just went whew, and it felt better, and I slept that night for the first time in 3 days. But equally, the minute the camera was rolling, I was fine. I just was like, I got on it, I did my thing, and then I sat with like a hot water bottle shaking. Like I get really unwell with it. And thank God, touch wood, it's not happened for a while, unless I'm really, really, really tired. When I don't sleep, my anxiety spikes. It's very hormonal and chemical for me, I've realized, as well as timelines. Like I said, my body knows before I am stressed. So like for me, there was quite a bit of trauma when my dad was ill, and around certain times of the year, without me even registering it, my body gets like serious stomach pain and I start shivering and I'm like, what's wrong? Well, I'm feeling, and then I'm like, oh, time of year. It's like, it's a weird, it's all chemical for me, I think. But yeah, rip that Band-Aid off. If you've ever got any anxiety about something that you love, the only thing stopping you, if the only thing stopping you is that, then you just got to take the plunge. And I promise it's worth it. Like, it is so worth it. And then you just keep going, and then you just keep going, and you wake up the next day and you choose to do it again. And then you wake up the next day and you choose to do it again. And then eventually it becomes a habit, and suddenly it's just part of your life. And you're doing it, you know, and you probably will have anxiety along the way, but you'll figure out ways to deal with it, new ways to deal with it, with the life that you're trying to build for yourself and that you want to build for yourself. So,
yeah. No, I think that's a great answer. I suppose what I probably thought was that you were going to say it was the acting was almost a way of coping with it, because you could be someone else, like that ability to put yourself in a different perspective. So have you found, so for example, the pandemic was really hard for all of us. It was, especially people, like I would describe myself as like an introverted extrovert. Like I love my own company, I love my own space, but I can be loud, brash, but that's not me. That's me being a version of me to get over that little bit of nerves, anxiety, as you say, that little bit of worry. I can just turn it on a little bit. So did you find, so you're saying coming back from the pandemic, there was those sort of challenges, but now you're probably, or hopefully in a good bit of rhythm where you're acting a little bit more than you were around that time. Has it helped your anxiety?
Yeah, I think so. So I last year was really lucky. I mean, look, I like the word luck, but I think luck is when opportunity meets preparation. I like hard work meets preparation. So I think you make your own luck. But last year I was very lucky that the play that I wrote was really well received, and I did it in London and it sold out. Had it 5 nights previews, and then I went to Edinburgh Fringe and we sold out, and we were there the whole month, and it's transferring to London this year, hopefully, if all the funding goes through. And being able to do that every day, and that play was written or inspired by personal stuff, and that was sad. It's a sad play. It's funny, but it's sad, and it was really cathartic, actually. Sort of like writing it, doing it, because I think sometimes I'm so. I don't cry very often. A lot of my friends say to me, like when I do cry, they're like, "Oh, thank God you've cried. Thank God," because I'll just shut down. Like I'll just shut down emotionally and be like, "Yeah, I'm fine," and I'm not, you know. So I'm learning to deal with that better. But I think in being able to like be on stage and do it, actually, it's been really quite cathartic. And I'm not saying get on stage and that's the only way you can deal with things. But for me, it definitely helps for sure. And or like making comedy. I love making comedy. I love making people laugh. Like, you know, the opposite to sad is happy, but laughter is a tool that can help you get back to happiness. So you never be afraid to laugh when you're sad. So even when my dad had died, like, or even as he was in the hospice, like I was still making sketches and stuff because it was my release, I think. So I think any kind of art is really good for anxiety, whether that's painting or dancing or singing in your living room, like, or making silly sketches or acting. I think we've all got to do it in some capacity, some way, shape or form. You don't have to go to Edinburgh.
You don't have to go to Edinburgh, and you don't have to write a play. You don't have to star in the play. You don't have to do any of that. But I think the lesson from that really is actually to talk. So when you were saying you talked to that person on set who went and helped you with getting some things to sort of get you through it, that's the biggest thing. Like we started a podcast, surprisingly, not because we're all perfect and we'll all have lived these perfect, happy lives. We've started a sort of a mental health podcast because we've all either fucked up, had fuck ups, been fucked over, or whatever that might be, where you have to have this element of a release to talk about some of the struggles, to then feel so much better. And I think what this has given me, and even you talking about it, it's made me think, okay, we've definitely done the right thing by getting up and talking about it. And if I encourage any listeners, it's if you are struggling with something, actually talk. Like, get out there. Even just saying out loud reduces the fear of what it is. Because I think that's what a lot of mental health or what anxiety, struggle, stress is when you almost make the situation worse in your head because you can't comprehend truly what the situation is, I think.
Yeah.
I think so what we want to do now, we're going to talk about a few stats, and we're going to get your thoughts on them. They are around mental health or women's health. So one of the big ones for me is, so we are all aware that there's a stat that goes around, men are way more likely to commit suicide than women. And knowing women, that doesn't feel like a stat that truly reflects what society is or how it truly functions. So there's actually this stat that is 72% of those in suicide counselling are girls. So what I've learned from that stat is women are probably better at talking about it than men are.
Oh, yeah.
Men, we don't talk about it. So you described with your friends, they almost celebrate you crying because you're showing some emotion. Where with us, we probably don't talk about it until it's maybe too far down the line or to the point of we're going to break. So when you hear that thought, that stat, that 76% of women in counselling, suicide counselling are women, like how does that make you feel?
I think it's encouraging, definitely, but it's there needs to be more men. There needs to be more men in that percentage for sure. Like, I do think, I mean, like, you know, I've been with my partner for a long time, and just him talking to his friends is like, it's so rare. Like, if anything happened, I've had to train myself to be like, oh, I've got a problem, and I'll talk to my girlfriends, because I really don't. I'm bad at that, but they're really good at it, and they're good at checking in. I think just naturally women tend to be a little bit more aware of like what their girlfriends are going through, this, that, and the other. Or men will they'll just be like, "You're right, mate. Yeah, should we get a drink? Yeah, you're right. Yeah, you're good. Yeah, fine. Yeah, it's sound." And actually, they need to talk more. So, like, I literally said it to my partner the other day. Like, I was like, just text them and say, "I feel a bit crap." Like, and start that conversation. Like, it's not a bad thing to do that, and you'll be surprised at how they react, because they're probably feeling a bit crap as well. And like, I don't know, it's a very old social concept, and I know there's some work being done, and there is a movement, and men are being told to talk more, and you know, this whole toxic masculinity thing, you know, but there's still a long way to go in that particular area, for sure. And like, I mean, I think, just
no, I think you're absolutely right. And so James, Dean, I'll bring you guys into this. We've spoke about this multiple times. Why do you guys think that men don't speak up as men?
Do you want to go, James?
Yeah. We don't think our mates want to hear it. Can you hear me?
Go on.
Yeah,
say it again, mate.
Am I back? Yeah, so I just think we don't want to. A lot of the time, you don't want to burden someone with your problems, and even though you know that the people you're gonna talk to about it, or you would talk to about it, would listen and be really supportive. It's hard, really, because I feel like I've got a close group of people to talk to, but there has been things where like I won't even want to talk to India about it. That's my wife, by the way. But like, I will. I'll always eventually open up, and it's always like it turns out better than I thought it would in my head, if you know what I mean. So I just think we overthink it a lot, like what might actually happen, or like the worst things that could happen, be like maybe being rejected or being told or grow up or something like that, you know. But you don't really get that, you know. It is all usually positive. I think we always seem to overthink it a bit too much, and when it does come out, you do feel a lot better for it. It's just plucking up the courage, I think, to come forward, and as I say, you always do feel better after it.
Yeah, for sure. Linking back to what Dean said about like or the question Dean said about like making, I think it was Dean, about if you've got anxiety, how do you overcome that? I might have been yourself actually. Like, how do you overcome that? And it is just ripping a plaster off and going, actually, no, this is the life I want. I want to create this for myself. And nothing good ever happened from standing still. Like, you've got to be able to make a step and go, yeah, I'm feeling crap. Let's deal with it. Let's talk about it. And, it'll either make you go, oh God, they're good mates, or wow, they're shite. Maybe I should find some new ones, but ultimately it's a moment's pain for a lifetime's pleasure. It's that kind of thing. Like, it is just ripping that Band-Aid off, going, look, I feel a bit rubbish. This is how I'm feeling. And you'll probably be really surprised at how that's met. And it'll probably open up a big can of like worms, and it'll probably like give permission for other members of like the boy group to go, oh, great, I can talk about how I'm feeling now as well. Like, it's a really positive step. And I think, there's this weird pressure on you to feel like you've got to have it together all the time, and you can't show weakness, and you can't say this and you can't say that. Oh, lads will rip into me. They might, but equally, like, it's if they can offer you a shoulder, or at least give you that, like, provide a space for you to be able to just say how you're feeling, then that's really positive. And if they're not, then next round's on them, isn't it?
I think the real difference for us is, as blokes, there is a real culture of, we never open up. We rip each, as you say, we rip each other at every opportunity. We're in football chats, we're in boys chats, whatever, and anything serious, you are just getting your life had. It's like, oh lads, I'm struggling. Literally, they will use that to wind you up, even though they are your friends and one-on-one. So me and Dean talk about this all the time. We have multiple times where we'll go for a walk by ourselves or we'll go for a run, and like, we'll open up, we'll have a good laugh. Maybe not with serious stuff, but at any opportunity in normal, just lads chat, we will try and have each other's life, rip each other. And we run a podcast on mental health. So, and it's only because we've had this level of conversation where we know we can open up to each other. But I think part of men is, or part of the culture of men not speaking, is because we never feel safe to be vulnerable, because you will just get ripped about it. Where I think women are brilliant at opening up about their, generally, not going to say all women are amazing at it, but generally women are way better at opening up about their emotions. And there's so many lessons that we as men can learn from that. So if you look at your friends group of girls or women, I'd like to say that you guys probably have really good, honest, emotional conversations.
Oh, all the time. Yeah, all the time.
We don't.
Yeah. And that's a problem. It's a problem. But also, like to go, like, I'm a bit of a science nerd. I was going to go med school, like all this sort of stuff fascinates me. But like, biologically, like, we're able to do that because that's, like, women, like, I think women shouldn't, don't be like, do whatever you want to do. But like, because they're the ones that give birth and all that sort of stuff, naturally that they have that anyway. It's in them to talk, and it's a caregiving role, right? Like, our hormones are linked to everything. Like, the minute a child comes along or whatever, like our cycles, etc. So it is naturally harder, I think, sometimes for a man to be able to do that. And also, I think society, the way that society has framed everything is we've got to undo it, in the same way that there's a problem with like the gender pay gap and the way women are treated. We've got to be able to undo this toxic masculinity as well, like, and just all meet in the middle somewhere. And that's it. I think just try talking a bit more. And you know what, I think if the guys that rip into you when you've tried to open up, it says more about them and their mental state than it does yours. They'll probably go away and go, oh shit, shouldn't have said that. And that'll be on their mind, and they'll go, oh no, maybe okay, maybe I need to talk, and maybe I do need to provide that space for them. And and the more you do it, the more it'll become natural, and you'll get it, and you'll still rip into each other, but you'll know there's a safe space for you to be vulnerable as well, but also have a bit of banter and a bit of a laugh about it, because like I said, laughing is a tool to make you happy. So Have you seen the talking of trolls? We've got lovely.
I know.
Example there of from B. There you go. That's the perfect example.
Hello, B. It's lovely to have you listening to us tonight. You're probably still in our single digit of trolls. It's very weird someone trolling a podcast about mental health and
the irony.
Irony.
I was thinking maybe they don't realize it's a mental health podcast and that's what we're talking about, because they're coming on and complaining about we're talking about mental health when this is what we do.
This is it. This is the same people that come on and comment on your comedy sketches and they're like, I hate this. And it's like, read what it's about.
Yeah.
But there you go.
And it's live as well. This is the closest you'll come to being face to face with a troll.
Yeah.
Well, there we go. I mean, like you said, you're allowed your opinion. Doesn't mean you're entitled to it publicly. But here we are. This is it.
And there's my mum fighting with corner for her.
No. Well, do you know what?
Shout out to Jane.
Shout out to Jane. But yeah, no, perfect example there. Perfect example of everything that's wrong with the internet. So thank you.
So in everything you do, is there always a troll? Is every post you have, is there always some sort of negative comment?
Maybe. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe. A lot of the time, no. But maybe, probably somewhere. Like, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But it's absolutely no skin off my teeth. Like, unless you're like having. No, it's not. It says more about that person than it does anyone else, doesn't it? So.
Yeah, no, I agree.
I hope he's okay.
I'm sure she'll be fine. Maybe she's not listening anymore, which probably wouldn't be the end of the world. But one of the things you said earlier was you struggle with rejection. Now, again, when you say you potentially struggle with rejection and anxiety, it's even more impressive what you then actually do. So, being an actress and a writer, I imagine there's lots of things you've written that have been rejected, lots of things you've auditioned for and been rejected.
Oh my God.
How do you deal with that? And what's your process? Because I'm going to be honest, I really struggle with rejection generally. Like if I actually commit to doing something and I actually put effort into it, I probably wouldn't submit it unless I thought it was really good. Or I probably wouldn't audition unless I thought I was good. I'd like to think you're the same. You're not going to do it just for the sake of it. So if you put your heart and soul into something and it's rejected, like how does that make you feel? And then what do you do after that?
Yeah, when I was first starting out, I used to get, again, the industry is changing now, thank goodness, but I had some awful experiences. And there was some they used to get people being like, you're overweight or your skin's hot, because I struggle with my skin sometimes. I used to certainly a lot in my early 20s. Like your skin's bad, like this, that, and the other, or like you need to change your accent, and and it was a lot more personal. But so I think from that you tend to grow thick skin. You know what you're getting into. You know what you're getting into with the industry. So now I think of rejection as redirection, and another opportunity to showcase my work. I think of it as like, if I get an audition, I think of it as like a little job, and it's like the chance to do a little acting job. And maybe I might not be right for this part, but maybe the casting directors will keep you in mind for another one, right? Because a lot of the time you're not called in unless they think you're right, and unless you are making absolute pig's ear of it. 9 times out of 10, you know it's sound. It's okay. It just wasn't meant to be. Maybe whatever, but. It is a very difficult part, and like, oh my goodness, because I left my agent actually in the middle of the strikes which was going on. Bit of a
the strikes that are going on now.
So that they've just finished all the actors' strikes, everything. So I left my agent, which was a bit of a rogue move, right in the middle of it, because nobody was going to take anyone on. And oh my God, the amount of emails I've sent that got ignored, that got rejections, and that I can't deny that did have a big effect on my mental health, because I was getting to the point, like I'm a dog with a bone. If I want something, I'm like, I'm going to keep going till I get it. But now, whereas it used to be before, I was like, I'm not good enough, like what's wrong with me? Now it's more of a, okay, well, I'm just going to have to show you what I mean, aren't I?
Bit feisty there.
Yeah, like, and so, but that's taken years of conditioning of like crying and being upset, and I like, there's so many, like 4 or 5 times a year, I'm like, I'm quitting, I'm stopping everything, I'm not doing it. I just want to go and work with animals. Like, that's my fit. That's I love them. That's what I want to do. Because it does get a lot. But you just you have to try and change your mind frame and think of rejection as redirection, and it is just part of it. Think of it more as like an opportunity to show what you can do, and that it's not a no, it's just a not yet. And that's kind of how I'm trying to see it.
No, I think it's a really good way of looking at it. And I think as long as you go through life and accept that a failure is only a failure if you quit. If you learn from it, it's a lesson, and every lesson to learn is an opportunity, and every opportunity we're all desperate for them. And I sound wise there for a second.
Wise, very wise.
Where did you hear that?
Very, very wise. For a second.
Which podcast did you get that from?
I can 100% promise you, I just ad-libbed that.
I'm going to find that.
Just boom,
I'm going to find it.
Boom, boom. I know, honestly. I want to thank my mum, my dad. Yeah, one of those. Dean, I'm going to ask you a question. So you had a little bit of rejection this week. You don't have to say what it is. And you're going to think, what the hell did I get rejection from? I'm going to remind you something close.
No, I know what it was.
Yeah,
of course.
How do you deal with rejection?
My mom's just always like, what's meant to be is meant to be, and it's just massive. And that's pretty much, there's my mom there, watches saying, one door shuts, something else can happen. So it was a job that I was wanting to apply for, and it's a little bit my own fault. I'd seen the job application a couple of weeks ago, and I read it, but I didn't read it as it was for me. I thought it was to be the manager of that job, and I thought, oh, well, I'll never get that, so I didn't apply. And then when I went back and read it again, I guess I just read it differently, and then I went to apply, and we dropped a couple of messages to the people that were sort of doing the recruiting to see if we'd get some time just to speak to them and things like that. Hopefully, like, get a good impression in firsthand, but then by the time I messaged, they messaged to say that the job had closed. So it is what it is. What can you do? I kind of dwell over it. There's nothing I can do now about it. So I just sent the next best message to them to say that, look, if anything changes, let me know. And then literally forgot about it. And to be honest, until you mentioned it there, even though I did really want the job, by the way, this sounds like I wasn't really bothered, but it's just like, for me, if I can't do what I said to you this at the start of this year, Lewis, now I'm about like, control the controllables, do what I can do, and not worry about the things that I can't do anymore. Because I used to give a lot of time to that stuff, and I'd think about it for ages, and then, eventually I was thinking, well, I can't do anything about it. So I think that's a massive one for me now.
Yeah.
Just affecting what you can.
Yeah, like I seen a thing once, and it said something along the lines of, if you've got something that you're worrying about, write down all the things that you can do about it and all the things you can't do about it, and then do the things you can, and all the stuff that you can't do about it, just try and forget about. I know that's easier said than done in a lot of cases, but it's something that really helped me over the past few years. Makes it a lot easier to forget about things.
Yeah. And what do you do when like something is a bit rubbish? Like, I'll go like have a bath, I'll go and have a rant on a dog walk with my friend, and then eat some chocolate, and then I'm like, right, crack on, new day. Like, what do you do?
Mine normally is like food. Like, I love to eat bad food. I think as with all of we, don't we? But I can let my food habits spiral out of control, if I've talked about many times on this podcast. So yeah,
I feel like you should tell Sophie some of that, actually, because I think there's some big achievements in what you've done.
Yeah, we've lost a lot of weight from, because I just love eating food. Like, even right now, like, I could get fat as anything, like, and just be happy about it. So,
but you've just been for a run, haven't you?
Yeah. Well, that's
amazing.
I'm trying to lose my Christmas weight now, though.
Oh my God, I know. I literally today I was just like, I put on a pair of, like, what did I put on? I think it was a bra, and I was like, that's a bit tight. I was like, I'm still in a little bit in Christmas mode. I need to stop. It was my birthday as well at the weekend, and I've just eaten so much cake. So
yeah. I think I might need one again soon if I don't reel in this Christmas weight. So no, but it's good. Like, I give myself a bit of perspective, because last I got to December and I just finished this challenge that I was doing 75 days, and it got to December and I was thinking, no, I have to be on it for 3 weeks over Christmas and that. And then I thought to myself, you know what, like I've been pretty much on a diet like probably 10 months of the year, and I was like, no, I'm just going to enjoy it. So I enjoyed Christmas. I probably put on a stone over the full month, and then like I looked, and based on last year, I'm like 10 kilos down on what I was. So I've just see that as a win. And if I can if I can do the same next year and be 5 kilos down or something, I'll be buzzing with it. So I used to really focus on them short wins, try and lose as much weight as quick as possible. But now I'm thinking what I've seen today. People overestimate the work they can do in 6 weeks, but they underestimate what they can do in 6 months. And that's massive for me now, is in falling in love with the process rather than the goal.
You're in it for the long game.
Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah, that's it. That's amazing. Well done. Congratulations.
And I will never run without Dean. Like, honestly, I love running, but if I don't run with someone, like I am terrible.
I'm really bad.
I just can't motivate myself. I'm so bad at it.
Yeah.
Like any excuse to play football, I'll play football every day of the week happily, because then that's doing something. But just going out for a run, just a bit like, it's just a bit, especially when the weather's. Someone's turned the hairdryer on outside, not like I need it, but someone's turned the hardryer on. It's so windy out there. There's not a chance I'm going out there running in this. I live near the coast as well, and I can only imagine what that would be like. There is a question I have around sort of your themes that you talk about, like comedy sketches and stuff. So we had Imogen on, I referenced her earlier, and again she does the miming acting, and she's an actress, and she's getting into sort of that's becoming her career. So she said she does the type of sketches that she does so she doesn't get typecast as the attractive blonde like girl next door type, or the school bully type, because she's an attractive girl and she gets very much typecast. Is that something in your mind where you're like, I'm going to do stuff that shows my personality, versus the things where I would just be, I don't know, someone's partner or a love interest, or again, trying not to sound inappropriate, you're an attractive girl, like Imogen's an attractive girl, like in a way of, is that something that you're consciously thinking when you do your types of content?
I think with comedy, it's a little bit different. Like, but then what I get cast as is different. I'm a little bit of a weird one. I think people don't really quite know what to do with me at the moment, because I've got this comedy platform, and then like, for example, I've just been in a World War II film that's out in January playing a French sniper, or I was marrying and made Marion.
Whoa, that's cool.
It is really cool, but like totally different. So my comedy, I just love it. It just makes me happy, and I love observational comedy. I love looking at humans and going, okay. And then just.
Are you a people watcher?
I am, without even realizing though. Like, I can watch somebody and then mimic them very quickly. I don't know what that is. I don't know. It's not really a skill, but
bit weird.
It's a bit weird. But and then I'll put it into fit like a sketch. And a lot of people are like, "Oh my god, yeah." Like, I think some people think I must be exactly what I put online, but a lot of it's not. I've just watched. But in terms of typecasting, it's a bit, I don't know. I think I don't want to be pigeonholed, that's for sure. But I don't seem to be. I think because the industry, it sounds like Imogen had a similar sort of experience. It's based on headshots, how you look, how you present yourself, your show reels, this, that, and the other. A lot of people are surprised when I say I do comedy. And I don't know why that is. I think they expect all female comedians to behave and act a certain way. I don't, or look a certain way, or be, and I just, when I first started out, I used to get typecast in acting a lot because I've got brunette hair and whatever. So it was like, oh, prostitute number 2. That was me.
Is that a thing?
Oh yeah,
I feel like I've missed that being a thing. By the way,
I was always like the prostitute or the hooker or the femme fatale because I'm brunette. But like, so yeah, you get typecast. But then when I started doing comedy, like I don't think I'm anything like at all. Like that will. But like, people would be like, oh, you've got to pick one. You can't be sexy and funny, or you can't have you can't wear makeup and be funny, or you can't like. And it's like, yes, I can. what constitutes funny? Like, absolutely, I can be a CEO of my underwear if I wanted to. Thank you very much. Like, I'll do what I want to do, and like that's not for you to say, you know. So I get what Imogen's saying, but equally, she's a talented girl, I'm sure. So like her talent will do the talking, and especially if she's got a good like agent and acting and stuff. Like if the audition comes in and she smashes it, brilliant. Like, you know, it doesn't matter what she's done on TikTok on Thursday. Like,
yeah,
as long as you're not doing anything inappropriate, I think it's just you're using a platform to do what you want to be able to do. And I think that's really good. So yeah, I don't know. I get what she means, and I do worry sometimes, but equally, like, I don't ever want that to limit you. But I think in the acting industry, that is always something that will happen anyway, whether you're on TikTok or not. So yeah.
But I think what you have both done really well is shown that you're more than. So Jack has just commented saying that with Sophie, yes, you notice her appearance first, but actually she's really funny, intelligent, and it's absolutely right. I would never have watched your next video if you weren't funny. So you might have appeared on my timeline, and then I would never, if you weren't funny, I'm not going to waste my time watching something that isn't good or great content. And it's the same with Imogen, or it's the same with anyone with talent. Don't let your talent shine through, put the hard work in, and let that be your thing more than whether you're really good looking, like James, for example, who's the good looking one on the podcast. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Bill stood in the corner.
Yeah, he's married to my sister Sophie, so hands off, right? It's one of those. But I think what we should talk about, you were, did you say a French sniper in a World War II film?
Yeah.
Now, I mean, that's for me. If I had to put you in any type of role, I don't think that would have been the top of the list that I would have chose. So how did that come about?
So I had played. I'd worked with the director before on a film called The Adventures of Maid Marian, where I played Maid Marian. And that was all bows and arrows and shooting and fight scenes, and that was really good fun. And I worked with the director before, Bill. He's fantastic. And and it came about from that. And again, it's just you go in, and if you can do the part, you can do the part, or you can't, and you're either going to fit it or you're not, right? So and then I got Annette, and it was really good fun. It's out in February on like Amazon and stuff. It was a really cool indie film, like
Amazon and stuff.
So it was a really cool indie film, and like it was really fun, and the people there were some of the best, and had the nicest time. So I feel really lucky. I just love doing stuff like that. Like you could throw me in the mud, like just as long if I'm on set, I'm so happy. Like I love it. I love being on set or on stage and just creating with really lovely people around me. Like I feel so lucky when I get the opportunity to do that. So.
And were you did you have to speak French in the film, or just a French accent?
No, I have a French accent, but I went in with my French accent, actually. Funny story at first, and we shot the first scene, and the director came and he was like, "I'm not sure if that's working." And I was like, "What do you mean?" He was like, "It's very French." And I was like, "Well, I had a French friend that I consulted with, so I was like, no, the accent's all like it's accurate, like." So I was like, so we softened it, and then it was like, okay, no, that's better. So it's a soft French accent, and then I did have to speak French in it, which I think like I've seen the film. I think I get away with it. It's fine. We had somebody on set that was speaking French because she was saying it all right and everything, but there was one bit where I had to shout something when these horses had been let out of this barn, and it was through gunfire, and I can't remember what it was. It was like a really big, long French thing, and I remember doing it on set, and I was just like, this sounds like a gobbledygook, like because I was trying to do it like I was like, ah, la, 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 like at the time, and I went and watched the film.
I'm not French, but that doesn't sound French.
That wasn't French. I can't remember the line, and I don't want to try and do it now to like mess it up. But when we watched the film, it didn't make it in. I was like, oh, thank God. I was like, it was awful. or every now and then I would go really northern, so we had to be careful of that. But yeah, so I spoke a little bit of French in it, and then a very soft French accent because after the first scene we were like, yeah, no, maybe we should just soften it so it's like just so it doesn't sound like
Northern English. It
not
sounds
even that. No, it sounded it was just very French. Too French almost, yeah. And it was like almost like going maybe a little bit Monty Python. They were like worrying it about. So I was like, if you do it softer, you're safe. So yeah, soft French accent in it and a little bit of French, yeah. But the really bad bit of French that I did was I was shouting through gunfire. That didn't make it in, thank God.
Yeah, I hope now the director hears this at some point and releases a director's cut with the French
outtakes.
He pretty much told me at the time. He was like, I don't know if that's going to be in there. I was like, no. Yeah, pretty much said it something along those lines.
And you went take 2, and he was like, no.
Yeah, or it might have been Philippa who was doing the French. Was like, no. It's like, no. Yeah, I was like, I know.
Yeah,
but yeah.
So, what part of England are you from? Because I've tried to get your accent throughout this. You are northern, I can hear it. But where are you actually from? Are you? If we had to guess, we're all gonna guess. Right, God. I think you could be from.
Oh, I'm useless with accents, me though.
Are you from like Nottingham?
No.
No. Oh, that was a
no.
bit.
It's either like Yorkshire. I'm feeling.
It could be York. No.
Manchester.
I'm not.
No.
So
Manchester. Did you say Bolton here?
From Barrow in Furness, which is in Cumbria.
Barrow in Furness. What's that from?
Barrow in Furness, I guess.
Michael McIntyre sketch.
Is it?
Oh, yeah, is it?
Yeah.
I heard that.
It goes. Sounds like it's somewhere you get sent to something. I can't remember.
Yeah, I mean, bless it. I love Barrow, but yeah, it. So it's like right on the edge. So you know where the Isle of Man is.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you literally go across, we're like there. Like that's kind of Barrow, and like it's towards sort of like Carlisle way. Like.
All right. So you are actually quite northern.
Very northern, yeah. Very northern, yeah. Love it.
I say that someone from Newcastle, and I go, oh, so you actually are quite northern then?
You are quite northern then.
Yeah.
Yes, I am.
Yes,
you are. So are you.
Yeah,
it's the other side.
Yeah, just the other side, yeah.
Northwest.
Northwest, okay. All right, that makes sense.
We were really bad at deciphering accents then, so we've kept that.
Yeah, no good, mate.
Yeah, my accent's changed. I've lived in London for like the last a long time. So yeah, my accent.
Yeah, I'll put it down to that.
I would have got it otherwise. Yeah.
Yeah, you would. You're doing like Barrow, of course.
Of course. Hang on, we started guessing, and she just went, "You're never fucking getting this." Literally, no one has ever guessed.
Barrow was my next guess, though.
Well, there you go. Of course it was.
What is Barrow famous for anything other than Sophie Craig?
It's the shipyard. There's a shipyard there.
Oh, you're not really selling it.
Is
it a good night out? No.
I just googled Barrow in Furness, and the first thing that comes up is Barrow in Furness inbreeding.
Yeah.
Oh.
Look, listen. It's where I grew up. I love it. Do what you will. Google what you want. Do what you want. But I love it. I won't have a bad word said to my face.
Yeah.
But it's home. It's where I'm from. It's where I grew up, and it's one road in, one road out. That's Barrow.
Is it the kind of place where everyone knows everyone?
Yeah.
Lovely.
Yeah.
So you like the local celebrity then?
It's very industrial.
Are you walking down the street and everyone's like, Sophie?
Oh my God. No,
oh my
Pete.
God. Yes, it is.
You got the pops in your face.
No, it's Pete from next door.
The local Herald.
Yeah. No, honestly, I love it. It's such a beautiful. Do you know what? Like it's like you can have a Google of Barrow and it'll tell you like it's a very poor area, it's very deprived, but it has some of the most incredible people there, incredible souls. My mum still lives there. with my sister and my grandma, and my best friends are there. Like I love going home. And do you know what? Like the little Barrow is a little industrial town, like, but it's a peninsula, so 3 sides of the sea, and the other side's the Lake District. So it's a really
That
lovely
sounds cool.
Yeah,
You
so
sold me on Barrow there. Like,
I was always,
at the
you know,
start, I was like,
you're always by the sea, and yeah, you're near the lakes as well. Like I do. I love it's home, isn't it? You know, it is what it is. I'm not gonna talk it up to be like, you know, it's not the Ritz, but it's home. I love it, and I'm proud of it. And I'm proud to be from. So
yeah, I love that. If you were to land any role previous, so it's a film that's already happened, been filmed, what would you have liked to have done?
Oh, Hunger Games.
Yeah, I love Hunger Games.
Oh,
Have you seen the new one yet?
Yeah, the new one's
so
really good. Loved it.
No spoilers. I haven't seen it yet.
It's good. No one's said anything.
It's really good.
It is really
Should watch it.
But they all die.
Yeah, they all die in the end. No, yeah, I it was that good that I came back and then rewatched all the Hunger Games again. Like,
I did as well.
Yeah,
I did the exact same thing.
Oh, good. So yeah, that would be it at the moment.
I loved all the music in it. Actually, like all the singing and stuff was really good, wasn't it?
Oh,
yeah, she was brilliant.
Yeah.
Like, obviously, she's really beautiful, but she could actually sing and act. I was like, oh,
yeah, that was her
She's
singing.
Snow White.
Yeah, that was her singing on set as well.
Wow,
is it a musical like?
Very.
No, but there's loads of singing in it.
But she
It's
sings in
really
it.
good because it links back to like why everything's the way it is. But yeah, really, really good.
It's a
Worth
prequel,
seeing.
isn't it? So
Yeah.
Good.
it's
But
good.
being
Dean,
an actress, then Sophie, do you make like the biggest effort to go to the cinema to watch all the new movies that are coming out?
I try my best. Like sometimes, like there's a really nice cinema around the corner from me, and it's got them big chairs, and it's like and you know where you can like recline, and it's like
Lovely.
a proper experience. Like it's lovely that. Isn't it? So like, yeah, I'll try my best to like if there's a big film out, go and see it.
What's your cinema food order? That's the most important thing.
Popcorn.
Are you a buy sweets before take them in, or you take the bag?
Yeah, you just nip to Tesco before, pop them in, and then you get you go and get your popcorn from there as well.
Yeah,
it's extortion. You're like, oh, every time, God, it's an absolute fortune. But what they don't know is you've got 3 bags of Haribo in your bag. So,
yeah,
like you're all right.
Feels like such a crime, doesn't it? Walking
Haribo
through.
Yeah, you're always like, you're right.
Yeah.
It's all right.
I remember there was one time in Australia, and next door they sold like burritos. So I went to like take a burrito into the cinema for I'll have this. So I was walking, I put it in like my back pocket, and I was walking up the stairs, and I got up. But people do it regularly, and there's like a big sign says no burritos, right? And then like, so I got through, and as I got through, I heard, that man's got a burrito. And then the guy, 2 security guards, both come like bouncers, like as you can imagine in a film, like, you know, like the mob bosses in the casino, and they come both put hand on each shoulder. You're gonna have to come with me. And they took us downstairs, and they're like, you'll have to eat this burrito outside. So I had to like sit, like I was like a professional food eater, like munching this burrito, trying to get rid of it because the film was started. Oh,
Dean's
so
just
funny.
at the back, like whacking out it's like a full Sunday dinner, like.
Yeah, no, gravy.
What if I could,
please?
But yeah, the sign says no burritos. It doesn't say anything about a Sunday dinner.
Exactly. Go and get a Toby Carvery.
Oh.
Yeah, no, so I like going to the cinema. I try my best, definitely. Like, but the seats have to be dead comfy, or like I went to see Oppenheimer there at the cinema, and it was just a bit like a great film, beautiful film, but it was just too long. I love Christopher Nolan, but like his films, like they're long, right?
Yeah.
And that was the one time where about the last hour of the film, I was just getting a bit fidgety, and I was like, oh, I wish I could be like at home where I could just pause it and go and make myself a brew and whatever. But I always do try and get to America.
Did you watch the new Leonardo DiCaprio one?
You have not seen it yet, but that's really long, isn't it?
Don't say it. Don't say it. It was her rent.
Honestly.
People got up and left, and we were like, "Shall we leave?" And we're like, "Oh, but there's nothing else to do." Like it's Saturday night, we weren't drinking,
left.
so we're like, "Oh, we'll just stay." And then we got to the end, we're like, "What is it?"
What
But you know,
happened?
like sometimes though, some of the films that win Oscars, for example, like the normal film person goes, "How does this win an Oscar?" It's the kind of film that probably would win an Oscar, but like for the normal person who goes to the cinema, we were like, like nothing happened in the whole film. It's like 3.5 hours long. Like nothing happens.
It was
Like
literally 3.5 hours.
so,
Okay, maybe
like,
want to watch it at home then.
yeah.
I
I'll
would
never
probably just
ever
not-
watch that again. Like like even
No,
if it's on
neither.
telly and you're like flicking, you go, "Oh, I remember watching this years ago." Like, nah.
Strong words.
Strong words.
Yeah, and me and Dean are big cinema buffs as well,
Okay, fine.
for the nachos mainly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, for the nachos. So we're getting to sort of the end of the podcast here, and there is a few quick fire questions.
God.
So they're nothing bad. So don't worry. I'm sure you would have asked us way worse questions than we would ask you. So that's absolutely fine. So you do have a partner, but dream first date. So we have lots of men listening, always wanting date. We've just had a dating episode last week, and we've had lots of questions this week around like where's a great place to, or what's a great first date. So we thought we would ask you that question as well.
Also, dream partner, as in like.
No, not dream partner, just like the dream date that you would have. Yeah,
Date,
yeah. That's a little
not
bit bad
partner.
because you say my partner. Yeah.
You obviously you already with your dream
She
partner,
listen.
surely.
Yeah, yeah.
Dream, no, right. Dream date.
First date. Dream
First
first
date.
date. Yeah. Doesn't it have to be dream? Because dream makes you feel like it has to be like a holiday, which is just not a first date, right?
No,
Like,
yeah.
What's a good first
Ideal
date?
first date. Yeah.
Like a hot air balloon caveat.
Yeah.
No. For me, it'd be something like physical, like rock climbing or like a climbing wall or something like that. And
That's
then
cool.
like a nice coffee and a walk, and then just something like that. Just something really physical, out of the house, like no pressure. You can get to have fun, fall on your ass a bit, and like see if they can have a laugh or not. And then
that also made me think of Gladiators. As soon as you said that, I thought like stand at the top and just.
So yeah, an activity, I think, for me, definitely.
Okay. Do you? So I have other questions, but we'll do the three that from last week that followed on. Do you have to have similar interests with a partner for it to work?
I think you have to have things in common. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, I think, you have to be like, for example, say one's like an absolute gym buff and the other one absolutely like couldn't think of anything worse and won't even like, doesn't like a walk. I think that you probably like, you're chalk and cheese there, aren't you? But I think it's good to have separate lives and separate interests that you can share with one another, and like maybe like as long as the other one's open to like maybe going and joining in with that interest of the other person and vice versa, like maybe one likes boxing and one likes salsa. I think if you can like both be able to like, try each other's and that, I think that's really important.
Yeah, I think that's a good one. Texting or talking? Would you rather text someone or talk on the phone?
I'm a voice noter,
Oh,
So-
no. You're like the worst kind of person ever. That is the worst, honestly. If someone ever sends me a voice note, I don't think I've ever listened to one. Not all the way through. I press play and I'm like, just throw my phone away and just reply going, can you just reply normally, please?
I used to be like that, but now I quite like it. It's like having a phone conversation, but without, because I find phone calls, like when somebody rings me, I'm like, oh, you didn't tell me you were going to ring me. So it's like, so in that instance, I guess texting, I guess
Jack
texting.
has absolutely killed you there.
But then whereas like a voice note, it isn't an intrusion of like, you have to answer the phone now, but I can listen to it and feel like I'm having a chat with them. But it's more like a little podcast. So I appreciate a voice note if someone sends me one.
Do you send like the 10 voice notes, like where like you're just doing one sentence and then next sentence, or like a big one?
No, I can send a big one. Me and my best friend send voice notes all the time. Sometimes hers are like 15 minutes long. And do you know what? I love it because it feels like I'm having a chat with her. and I'm having a little.
You forget
drive.
about what you're talking about, though.
Yeah, I know. Sometimes you have to make little notes
Yeah.
about what you're chatting about so I can reply. But I'll have a little drive, and it's like my time to like sit and listen to her, and I love it.
Yeah.
So I don't know what that makes me. I guess a texter.
Bit of both.
So yeah, it's like a middle of.
I was going to say a
middle of the
weirdo,
park, innit?
but
Weirdo. It doesn't make me. I don't like phone calls unannounced. Texting gets boring.
yeah.
Well, I prefer a text over a call. So yeah, text.
Okay. What was your first job?
I work. Oh, her. I had two at the same. Oh, paper round. Does that count? No.
Probably.
No, I used to put the advertiser in the bushes because I was too busy. So I used to. So I had a paper round, and then I went to McDonald's.
And how was working at McDonald's? That's
I loved it.
because James did as well.
I loved it.
I worked in
it.
KFC. That was my first job, and then my second job was Mackey's. But yeah, I loved it too.
I loved it, and I got all my stars.
Yeah,
How
same.
many stars can you get? Like, is it 3 stars?
Oh, I think. Yeah.
Oh,
So I
yeah.
went to McDonald's and at a corner shop at the same time. So yeah, loved it.
Yeah, love that. What's your favourite word?
Oh, I can't say it on here.
You can, and it begins with a C.
It's
probably.
a C-bomb.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a cunt is my favourite word too.
Oh,
I will
good.
say it for you.
But do you know for why?
Go on
So
then.
it's the oldest word in the English language, right? One
Is
of
it?
the oldest. One of the oldest words in the English language. It was never originally used as a profanity, and it is the only word
Mm-hmm.
really that encompasses the entirety of a woman's anatomy, because vagina isn't the whole thing. It's just the tube, right? And a
Obviously,
vagina.
we know this.
Listen,
obviously.
and a vagina. You trace the origin of the word back. It's where they used to store a man's sheath or a scabbard. So that's where that term comes from.
I've missed something there. I've missed something
Yeah.
there.
So-
I was
Gotta be
following till.
So that's what the word vagina was like. That's where you stored a sheath or a scabbard, so a man's sword or a scabbard. So that's where it's come from. So therefore, I'm like, well, let's claim back that word and make it what it's like. It is what it is. It's not profanity. It's like the only word that encompasses it all, because a vagina is all about storing a sword. So
Yeah.
My
that's
wife's going to
true.
be so impressed with my knowledge later.
I know. You can. I mean, don't quote me on it, but yeah, I think that's
Word
my
for
favourite
word.
And, yeah,
Yeah,
because it was
no-
never originally profanity, and yeah.
But do you not feel like it's just such a powerful word? Like it is the most. You can say, "Ah, you're stupid."
It's
I
very
even feel bad
plausible.
saying it now.
Yeah,
I
it's
feel-
very
feel bad saying it now.
plausive, isn't it?
Yeah,
It's very
but-
like oh, it's like oh,
Ooh,
it's a good-
it's like a powerful. I've said
So
that.
it is powerful, like.
like in
yeah.
Australia, it's an term of endearment. So
Yeah.
yeah.
That's where I
love
got it
especially
from
if
when
you're
I
in
was
in a
there.
room of if you're in a crowded room as well. I think it's class because it separates the sound people. If you
Yeah.
say cunt pretty loud and no one and you got like a group of people who don't batter an eyelid, you're like, yeah, that's sound. But the people who you're like, right, don't want to talk to you.
Yeah, I'm gonna avoid you all night now.
Yeah.
So it is like, do you know what? Like, if you like, you either like it or you don't like it. It's that you're into two categories. There's nobody that's indifferent to it. It's you like or you don't like. But
I'm
I
a love.
don't mind it, and I like it for the English, like the history of the word, as opposed to calling people it. Like I think, yeah, would never.
I love it also for your made up history of the word. Like that is now added to my reasoning for loving it too. If you had to eat the same food for a year, and we're talking breakfast, dinner, tea, what is it?
Sunday dinner.
So you'd have a Sunday dinner for breakfast.
Yeah, because you can have a Yorkshire pudding for breakfast. That's not weird, right? And
That's
then
not that weird.
no,
It's a little
and then
bit
you
weird.
can have, and then you can like separate it up a little bit. Like, oh, fancy a bit of a salad for lunch, so you can have a bit of veg, and then you've got your roast potatoes and your like whatever in the evening. Like sound.
Yeah.
Mix
What
it
would
up.
yours? What would yours two be, Dean James?
Pizza for
Yeah, like,
me.
yeah, mine would have to be pizza. I think.
Again, you can have like loads of different types, can't you? Like you can have a breakfast pizza. It's about
you're
to be
having
one
that-
specific type of pizza.
One specific pizza. So you have to go
Oh.
meat feast or something, don't you?
I'll
And
like
just-
go meat feast that has everything on, and then I'll just take bits off.
Yeah.
Just like the
Yeah.
Sunday dinner one.
I think
Because are you saying that
I
has to
reckon
eat?
heaters.
no, it doesn't have to eat all because you can leave If you only want the Yorkshire pudding for breakfast and you want to leave the gravy and the stuffing and the turkey.
Do we also have to make it though? Because then, like, you'd have to make a Sunday dinner 3 times a day for like a year, like.
Yeah, once a week's enough, isn't it?
Whoa.
You don't have to make it. We'll give it that We'll give it that Dean who did his first Christmas dinner this year. Dean will make you your Sunday dinner 3 times a day for a year.
All right, I'll make you a pizza then. Deal.
Yeah, deal.
Yours is a microwave one, Dean.
I love microwave pizzas, me.
James, have you had a thought or think?
Fajitas?
Yeah, mine be fajitas. Yeah, I love fajitas. I love Mexican food in general, to be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that is very true. You have become obsessed with hot food, so I understand that.
Yeah.
And last one, Sophie. What is your favorite animal and why?
Oh God.
This always pulls up people's heartstrings here.
Everyone
will judge you.
I love animals.
There's only one answer though.
I know. Yeah. I've got 2. Dog, I guess.
Yeah, it's got to be, hasn't it?
Yeah, I've got 2, but genuinely, animals over people any day.
Yeah, I'm the kind of person where, like, if I see an animal, if I could choose between an animal dying or a person, it's really bad. I would choose the animal living.
Yeah, it's bad, but it's the same when you watch a film with dogs in. Like,
I can't watch Marley and Me.
Yeah.
I've watched it once, and I will never go back to that.
Yeah, you watch these films, and like, there's loads of characters dying, and then you watch a film, and the dog is, oh no.
Yeah. Like, how many people have we seen die in films exactly? But we all remember that Labrador.
Yeah.
Or is it a golden retriever or a Labrador? Dean will probably tell me, but it's one of them.
Well, it's like a golden lab, isn't it?
I feel I got away with that one. Yeah, I got away with that one. Well, Sophie, that wraps it up. So, honestly, thank you so much for coming on and talking to us and sharing a bit about your story. And yeah, you've been an incredible guest.
Oh, honestly, thanks so much for having me. Sorry if I've talked your ear off, but thanks so much for having me.
That's kind of part of it.
Could have just come on silence for like an hour and a half, like that's what I normally do, to be fair. But
yeah.
Oh, it's so nice to meet you all, though. And you're doing
and you.
Such an important.
It's really good to get all the interaction from your fans as well. As I said earlier, I don't think we've had that much interaction in an episode, or definitely not one that I've been on anyway. And someone who was from Sweden, so we're going global, guys.
Well, thank you so much, everybody. If you have been on it, and shout out to B.
Yeah, B. Be nice, B. Be nice,
B.
Isn't there a word for B? We were just talking about it
begins
a couple
with
of
a
minutes
C.
ago. Yeah, that's the one.
No.
Oh, we can't say that. Oh,
we're gonna get
God,
cancelled.
you'll follow us. Yeah, I hope so. Get my Monday nights back. I'm joking. Honestly, Sophie, thank you very much, and thank you to everyone who listened. We will catch you next week, where we have another incredible guest on, which we will announce later on in the week. So thank you very much, and I hope you all have a lovely rest of your evening.
Thank you so much for having me.
Cheers. Thank you.
Peace.